I'm going to go over how I am trying to use game theory to really amplify my business, but also how every other large business. Here's how I use the game theory in Moneyball to drastically increase the revenue of my business. First, what was going on? The big difference that the Athletic A's in this movie, where the general manager, this team had a lot less money than all the other teams, significantly less, and they were trying to still win the championship of baseball. The main character, the general manager of the Athletic A's, he was in the boardroom with all of his staff, and they were pitching what players should they recruit to try and get better. And all the people that they were recommending were just expensive players that the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees could afford, but a poor team like the Oakland A's did not have that ability. Eventually, this guy found this kid from Harvard, and what this kid did was he didn't care about what players did what. He didn't actually know anything about baseball. He just thought about it to the highest leverage point, which is the same thing I really try and think about. What is the one thing that we need that is going to make us win? That is, you need runs. He said the goal shouldn't be to buy players, it should be to buy runs. That means you have to buy someone who's going to get on base. They took a mathematical approach to the game of baseball where they were actually trying to buy runs, and the players that they were getting were the ones with the highest probability of getting on base and scoring runs, because at the end of the day, that was going to have the highest leverage point of them actually winning games. And what do you know? That was hyper successful, and now that is very mainstream in most aspects of sports. But it's not just sports, it's business. Because of my business, where I get to really look and deep dive into exceptionally large businesses that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars per year, because I have a marketing company helping them grow online to where they can scale their business even more. I get to see what a lot of these people are doing, and one of the main takeaways is you never make educate or emotional, personal based decisions. You can go with your gut feeling a lot, and that can get you so far, but at the end of the day, you should be following the data. Moneyball, the goal is to buy runs. I just want more revenue. The data tells you if you're doing something right or wrong. You don't have to get emotional about it. You don't have to have one opinion that is forced to be right no matter what. Because I don't care about being right or wrong. I just want to make money. I want my business to grow, and I want to generate more revenue. That's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day. Ego aside, it feels good to have one of your hunches work off really well, and the more data that you see, the easier it is to make hunches that are actually correct, but it doesn't really matter. So since I really help people scale their YouTube channels, that's kind of what I'm known for, in at least my micro space. I work with a lot of large businesses, and so when we're making videos, one, we have to have the data to be track. So this kid in Moneyball, what he did is he downloaded on an Excel spreadsheet that every single player had, or every batting attempt that they had, so he could track the data for who had the highest likelihood of getting on base. You want to be able to do the same thing. Which videos generate the most revenue? What are you doing in those videos to generate the revenue, and how are they generating revenue? You need to have all the back-end links for every single video. If you had a link to see someone then booked a call and they invested $100 million, you should make more videos like that. Even if it doesn't get as many views, the goal is revenue. You're trying to maximize revenue for every single video. There's a multitude of strategies of, one, doing top of the funnel content to try and push out to as many people as possible, middle of the funnel that really is good at nurturing, but also trying to get a broader audience. And then you have your really bottom of the funnel, just trying to monetize what you're doing. You can have a mathematical approach to a lot of this stuff, just looking at the data, improving yourself based upon the data, because I don't care what I do. I just want it to work. And so what metrics am I looking at? A lot of it's just in terms of the videos. What's the view duration? What is the click-through rate of, let's say if the video gets 100,000 views, how many people click the link to join whatever lead magnet? Let's say it was investor relations page. How many people from that link, let's say 2,000 people click the link, how many of those people give their email? From that, how many of those people sign up to book a call? Of those people, how many of those actually get closed as clients? And then how much money are they investing? I mean, I want to be able to track every single portion of it. That is the ultimate objective, because then you can refine what you're doing to have the highest possible impact every single time. This is not complex stuff at all. It's really not. The real key that I'm trying to hammer down on, though, is no need to have an opinion, emotional based decision. That's something I learned from Ken. He's a billionaire that I work for. He's one of my clients, and over 10,000 apartments. That's a lot of wealth. Every single time I'm sitting in on a meeting with him, he has KPIs, which are just key performance indicators for his entire company. That is just a metric that everyone agrees to track. And with with that, you can track if someone's doing a good or bad job. This is basically their version of buying runs. He uses EOS, which is just a operating system that a lot of businesses do. This is all very, very, very common stuff across every single business, or at least every large business. They're going to have KPIs for their employees to where you can track if your employees are doing a good or bad job. You have a definitive metric that needs to be tracked. Let's say in baseball, they were trying to track, we got to buy runs. We have to buy people getting on base, or we have to, whatever it was. Mine will be, you have to track how much revenue am I producing, or how many views am I getting. If you don't have accurate data, then a lot of that is going to get screwed up. But every single person in his company, they know what their role is. They have a mutually agreed upon metric that needs to be hit, and he has 300 plus employees. So you know if someone's doing a good or bad job. And then it kind of goes up the ladder of people who manage a bunch of different people that kind of get to that result. And then you have people who oversee the managers. And all of it is really just taking unemotional based decisions. Are people doing what they say they're going to do? There are defined metrics that people are doing, or they are hitting or they are not. That is how you make the decisions, because nothing else really matters at the end of the day. Besides making sure you have a very strong company culture with large businesses, I'm really trying to think about, because I want to scale quite heavily over the next 18 months. All of them really, really nail down on company culture and what they're known for. Let's say I want to be the most innovative YouTube agency in the world. That is different than being highest monetizable and the fastest, most precise, the highest views, the highest revenue. Those are all very different. What you want is kind of tailored to the person, but the culture is going to depend on what the mission is. And so that's really on you as the founders. What is the mission of the company, and how do you attract the right kind of people, and how do you indulge in a workspace where people want to be a part of that and to kind of grow and thrive? But anyway, that's not really as much game theory. It is in a way, because that helps allow you to get to all those metrics that you're looking for. This is just how business operates. It's not emotional. This is one of the big mistakes I used to make, is I thought that I had an idea that was the fucking best thing since sliced bread. Your ideas are not that good. They've been thought of before. Business is not that complicated. It just takes a lot of fucking work. It's actually not. It's just finding your lane, and I found mine, and then it's just fucking building blocks. It's the same as trying to buy runs. How do you do that business? The only goal is not just buying runs. Well, it's basically buying revenue. If you're investing $100,000 in an employee, they have to be paying you $110,000, $120,000, or saving you X amount of time. The only way you know this is if you have all the trackable data. Without it, it's really tough to tell. I mean, if you hire someone for $100,000 a year and you don't know if they're doing a good or bad job, I mean, if you don't have something to track, if they're making you more money or if they're saving you more time, like, how do you know if they're a good fit for the company or not? That's why I just strongly encourage, at least myself, I need to continue to think about these things more and more and more, because it is really important.